Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please ensure to like, share, and subscribe. And also click the bell notification in the top right-hand corner to be made aware anytime I upload tutorials or videos to YouTube. All right, let's craft together. All right, guys, so I've had some questions about how can you take an 8.5 by 11 and make two cards out of that one sheet of paper. So we're going to walk through the process here, and I'll walk through each one of the steps with you, and then we'll see what great things you can create on your own. Okay. All right, so here we are in Microsoft PowerPoint. We're still working with the design of 8.5 by 11-inch cardstock. So when you come into Microsoft PowerPoint, you want to make sure from the menu when you select design and come over to slide size, custom slide size, you want to make sure that your width is 11, your height is 8.5, and that your orientation is in the landscape position. Okay, and then you hit OK. If you get a second screen to pop up after that, asking you to ensure or maximize your screen, you're going to choose ensure and hit OK. So when you're in Microsoft PowerPoint, you're going to have your blank slides here. If you have a slide that looks like this with something on the front, don't panic. All you need to do is just right click on it, come down to layout and select blank. And from that point on, each time you copy a slide in, it'll be blank. It'll follow the layout that you were using. Okay. So when you're doing an 8.5 by 11, you want to break it up into fours. Okay. So the best way to point this out to you is that what you're looking at on my screen is broken up into four rectangles. Okay. So this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle. And so basically what you're looking at is the front of the card, the back of the card, the front of the card, the back of the card. So you're going to be folding this in half and then cutting it to where when you fold the card, this is the front, this is the back, and then this is going to be your inside. Okay, so you're going to be using the image for this particular card. It's going to be going in the same direction on the front and the back. Okay, so with the larger card, we had the image going one way and the text on the inside going the opposite direction. Well, in this particular instance, we're going to be putting the image and the words going in the same direction. Okay, so for some of you, I know you're probably glad. You're probably like, oh, this is much easier. All right, so to make it easy for you, what I want you to do is to go to your menu and select Insert and select the shape. And we're going to go with the rectangle as always. And then just click and drag to the right. And that's going to give you your shape. Now you want to take and you want to make this shape to where you can get 5 of them. Okay, so in order to get 5 of them, you're going to have to make sure that that rectangle doesn't exceed, into or cross over into the other areas. Okay, so for this particular slide, we're going to go with 5.5 by 4.25. Okay, so anytime you insert a shape, you're going to get a format shape here on the right so that you can format your shape. The first thing I want you to do is to go down to, you have a fill area and a line area. The first thing I want you to do is to come in and change the sizing. So I'm going to explain this area to you. You have your fill and line, fill, line. You also have your effects, any type of effects that you want to add to that shape. And then you also have a size and properties. Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is to go to size and properties. And I want you to change the height to 5.5. And I want you to change the width to 4.25. Or wait a minute. I want you to do, let me see, let me make sure because You know, sometimes I get confused. Let me see what that looks like. Yep. So actually we're going to do the height at 4.25 and the width at 5.5. Okay. So that's what it should look like. Height 4.25, width 5.5. And then what that's going to do is to allow you, you see how I have this highlighted, this square highlighted, and it shows a little red divider. It's showing you that the center mark for the top and bottom of this card. And if you look at the splits between each red line, you would be able to get another box in there for a total of 4. Okay. So what we're going to do is I want you to go back over to your format shape. And this time I want you to click on the fill and line. And I want you to put that, come down to transparency and move that over to the right. And I want you to shift it over to the right to where you can see through it. And that's going to allow us to be able to see where we are when we're designing and to make sure we're in the center if we need to be, so on and so forth. Once you get that done, I want you to take and right click and copy and right click and paste. And when I'm saying right click, I'm saying on your mouse. And go ahead and right click and paste again. And right click and paste again. So that's what I mean by 4s. You now have 4 boxes. This is going to be the front of the card, the back of the card, front of the card, back of a card. So it's going to allow you to get 2 cards on one sheet of cardstock. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you to do is to go ahead and click in the gray area and drag to highlight all 4 boxes. And then just click in the center. Right click in the center of it. And I want you to select group. That way, when we shift this around, it's just one box. But we're going to delete it. And you want to keep that in your mind, even if you have to write it down so that you don't forget. But when you get ready to print your card, you want to delete this. You do not want to keep this as a part of your card. Okay. Now, you could very well go ahead and right click and copy and go to your second slide and right click and paste. And you could say that these are going to be these are going to be your templates for designing your small card. And then you could just have 2 extra white slides here that you could actually copy from here and paste them down here and just always design here. After you finish designing, copy those over to these blank slides and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so we're going to go ahead and insert our image. So again, this is the front of both cards. This is the back of both cards, okay? So we're going to go to the menu and select insert. And I want you to choose whatever picture that you have on your computer. So I'm going to insert from this device. I'm going to go to my downloads folder. And I think I'm just going to recreate the card that I just did so that it'll be quick and I don't have to hold you on here for 500 hours looking for graphics and stuff like that. So let me see if I can find this image right quick. And I might have it on my desktop. Knowing me, it is on my desktop. There it is. So I'm going to click on my image and click insert. Now the image, I want to make it the same size as one of my boxes. Okay. So we're going to take and we're going to right click on that image and size and position. And it basically, you could have did it from here or you could have clicked it from here. And we're going to change the height to 4.25 by 5.5. And you can make it a little bit smaller, but we can shift it once we get it in there because we want to make sure that we don't exceed the size. So 4.25. Oh, wait a minute. Make sure you take off your lock aspect ratio by deselecting these 2 buttons. If you don't, it's going to automatically try to resize it for you, kind of like in Cricut Design Space when you unlock your proportion. And actually it should be, I'm sorry, this is the reverse, 5.5 and 4.25. So your height is 5.5 and your width is 4.25. I got it wrong the first time too. Okay, so some people have a problem with using the rotate here. They don't think they're going to get it straight. All you have to do is click on the image and come up to rotate. And we're going to be rotating this, rotate left, okay? But you want to rotate it whichever direction you need to. I needed to do mine left, but you want to rotate it to where it's coming from the top to the bottom, okay? As if you were doing portrait, but we're doing landscape, okay? So this is going to be the front of our card. Now, you can just kind of drag it in a little bit from the side if you so choose. If you don't want to fill up the entire box, you know, with the image, you can make the image a little bit smaller like that. Okay, and all I did is I'm just clicking on the sides here where this little circle, little dotty is. I'm just clicking on that, clicking it and making it larger or smaller, whatever works for me. Now, all I need to do is copy and paste. And that's just basically so that I can get both of my cards. So now we have the front of our card already done. Now, if you chose an image that was just an image and then you want to add words, all you have to do is insert and text and then just click anywhere and drag to the right and it'll give you a text box so you can type, you know, whatever you want to put in there, okay? All right, so once you get your image in, the only thing we have left to do is to put our whatever we're going to put on the back of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and hit insert from the menu, text box. I'm just going to type, I'm going to keep it simple like on my previous card. And I typed in from your praying sister. Okay. So from your praying sister. All right. So once we get that in, we want to go back up to the front area. I'm going to put this on and make sure you have your text area highlighted. I'm going to select bold. That B is for bold. I'm also going to click this drop down for the text type and change it to Alex Brush. And I'm going to change the sizing all right here together. You don't have to go too far to do this. I'm going to change that sizing to 24. And then to the right of the font area, you have a left align, center, right align, and justify. Click on the center. Now all we need to do is shape format and rotate. And we want to rotate it to go in the same direction that our picture is going. I'm going to rotate it left at a 90-degree angle. And then we're just going to take that and put it right in the center of that box. That looks good. And then I'm going to copy and paste. And that's just basically so you can get the one for the bottom of the card. Okay, so you see how I have a red line, little dotted line going up the top of the center of this card. That's to let me know that's the center point. Okay, that's to let me know I'm in the center point, and let it go. So now you have the front and back of your card. So once you get that, all you have to do to move this over to your blank slide so that you don't interfere with your template is go ahead, click your image, and then hit Shift on your keyboard, click the next image, click your signature line and your signature line. Once you get them all highlighted, you want to make sure that you click on like one of the little dots and you're going to say cut. And then you're going to click in the white space and then right click and paste. And there you have your two cards, okay, front and back, without interfering with this template. The next time you need to design, you're going to follow that same process. If you choose to just come here and delete this, once you get it down packed, perfect. But if not, you can have this as your template, okay? And the reason I'm recommending you do it that way until you get really comfortable is because number one, you don't have to always come in here and remember what size should my boxes be. It's already here and designed for you. And you won't forget to delete that line that's going around that shape. Because if you don't delete this blue line that or black line that you see here, it will print out with your card. Okay, so you don't have to remember to remove it. You can just leave this as is. Which technically means that you would only need one of these. So what I would do in saying make your template, just make sure that, like if I click in this box, I can say front of card. And all I'm doing is clicking inside the box or clicking the box so that I can type front of card. Okay. And then I'm going to click on that next one and say back of card. And same thing, back of card. Okay, but you want to keep in mind that your images are going to be going in the portrait position. They're not going to be printed out this way. They're going to be going that way. Now, I can't tell you, let me see if I can make this a little bit easier for you to remember. Hold on one second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say insert and I'm going to say shape. I'm going to take a little shape here and I'm going to say front of card. Front of card. And then I'm going to bring it out a little bit. And then I'm going to go to shape format and say rotate. And I'm going to rotate it so that you would know that this is the front of your card. Not only is it the front of your card, but that's a reminder that the image should be going this direction. Okay. So we're going to copy that and paste it. Okay. Bring that down, front of card. Now click to copy and then click to paste. And we're going to drag that down and we're now going to say back of card. Okay, so now we have one for the back and one for the front. This is your template to help you to remember, and also to know what direction your image should be going in. Okay, so that's why we have it going this direction to help us to know this is the front of the card, back of the card, front of the card, back of the card. Okay, then when we go to the next slide, let's go ahead and copy one of these little babies and bring it over. And we're going to paste it in. And again, this one is going to be the inside of the card. And it's going in the direction it needs to help you to remember that this is the inside where your text is going to be. Okay. Now, so when you're looking at this, you'll eventually get in the habit where you won't need this template. Trust me, you'll automatically know. And you'll have these, hopefully you're saving your cards you're making just in case someone wants to pay you to make a card for them. It'll already be made. You don't have to come back in here and redesign. So always make sure you're saving, this work. You can see mine says Christmas cards because I did Christmas cards on here, but just keep it going. All right, so here we are. Now I'm going to do mine without the template, okay? And I'm not going to use the template because I'm going to show you just how easy it is. So I'm going to go to insert. I know based off of this, my text goes on this side and it should be, let me get my size again. Here we go. I'll put it wrong. It should be 4.25 by 5.5. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is insert text. Okay. And I can just click and drag. And on the inside of my card, I'm going to just retype what I had on the previous card. So you have been through some tough times, my sister, but things are now heading in the right direction. I am here for you every step of the way to rebuilding your new life, or rebuilding the new you. Okay. All right. So we have our text in. Now we know that our text needs to be going. We need to flip it around at a 90-degree angle. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go to shape, rotate, rotate left at a 90-degree angle. So now my text is going in the right direction. And also I can go over to my sizing and I can go ahead and make that 4.25 by 5.5. And I did it wrong again. I say it right 1 minute and then I type it wrong. 5.5 by 4.25. All right, guys. There we go. You'll know it's wrong because it's going to look funky. Like, oh, that's going to cross over onto the other side of my card, right? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight my text. And I think, there we go. All right, so I'm going to click and I'm going to highlight my text. I'm going to go to home. You always want to make sure you have it on the home when you're trying to get to your fonts. And I'm going to change the drop down here to Alex Brush. I'm going to put it on bold. And I'm going to change the text size. I kind of like that 28. And then I'm going to center it here. Okay. And then all I have to do is just click on the little, any area of the line and drag it towards the top. Now me, I like to, add that little snagget of the image. So I'm going to copy the image and I'm going to paste it. All I'm doing is right clicking and pasting. And I'm going to make that smaller like that. And I always like to put that on the inside of my card. They still have this area over here where they can write whatever they like in addition to signing over here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight both of these and select copy and then just click and paste. And then I'm going to drag those down. Drag those down so that now I have the inside of my card. Okay. So now you have front, back, and inside, and you're going to have two separate cards. Okay. You also have a template to kind of eyeball it to see where everything needs to be. And don't be like me. Don't forget your sizing, which I kept doing. You want to make sure you have your sizing at 4.25 by 5.5. Okay. All righty. But if you design on this template and you do not forget to delete this, it is going to be on your printed card and you do not want that. Okay. So you want to make sure that you do not put that on your printed card. All right, so now we have the front and the back of the card, and we also have the inside, and we are ready to save. Always make sure you save before you get ready to print, just in case your computer goes down, you don't lose that valuable work that you just put time and effort into, okay? All righty, so at this point, you are ready to print this out, and you're going to print it one card or one side of the card at a time. So make sure you only put one piece of paper or one piece of cardstock into your printer. I'm using the HP printer. It's a 7740 I'm going to be putting 8.5 by 11 cardstock into my printer, and I'm going to give you some settings here, which are pretty much standard like we use with the larger card. You're going to go to File. You want to make sure you're on the actual card, okay? And you're going to click on File and Print. And you want to make sure that the setting says Print Current Slide. If it doesn't, click on the little drop down arrow there to the right and then select it. So we have Print Current Slide. I'm going to select my printer because I have two, so I want to make sure I have the 7740. And my printer properties, for me, I always make sure that I select letter. I'm using my main tray for this and whatever kind of paper I'm using. And I always make sure that I select print quality for best and okay. So at this point, you want to go ahead and load your cardstock into that front loading printer. It doesn't matter what side you put it on if your both sides are the same, which mine are. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cardstock in the printer. All right, now that I have my cardstock loaded, I can go ahead and hit print. And while that's printing, I'm going to go ahead and bring myself up on the screen so that you can see me. All right, guys, so here is my image and everything that printed out. So now I have my front loading printer here. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to be placing this back into the front loader. You want to make sure that the image, is on the right side and the back of the card is on the left side. So image on the right side, back of the card on the left side. Okay. So right, left, image, back of card. And you're going to place this back into the front loader just like that. And close it up. Okay. And now you're ready to just hit print. You want to make sure you click on the second slide or the inside of the card and you're going to click on print. Okay. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to hit print and then I'll come back. All right, guys. So it just printed out. And when we fold that card in half like this, there's the inside of the card. Outside, inside, and then you'll have your back. Okay, so I'm going to take you over to the folding table and we're going to fold this baby up. All right, guys, here we are. And again, we have our card. And first thing you want to do is make sure you're on a flat surface. And you want to fold your card in half and make sure you got it completely laying flat and lined up. And you're going to go ahead and fold it just like that. And we're going to do one more fold the other way. And again, you want to make sure that you line it up evenly and flatten. Okay. And now we're going to grab, I'm going to grab my cutter here. I'm not going to use my scissors. I have a good fold line. And I'm just going to do one cut, which is in the middle of the card. So I'm going to line that line up that I just created. Just like that. And cut. Okay. Fold it in half. And now you have the outside of the card, front, inside of the card, and the back. That's one card. And you have, again, inside of the card or outside of the card, front, inside of the card and the back of the card. And you just created 2 greeting cards. You just created 2 greeting cards, and all you used was one 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Okay, there you have it. 2 greeting cards using 1 piece of cardstock. Okay, so just a couple of things I highly recommend in Microsoft PowerPoint is, like I said, create that template. And I don't care if you have to delete or duplicate the template to have more than one. Just make sure that you do not print out your template. You don't want the template to show up on your greeting card, which is going to give you an outline. Now, I did not use white paper. One of the ways that you can save on your ink when you want to have a different color background is to use a different color cardstock. So I use this kind of tannish color cardstock to print my card out on, and you can see how that looks really nice instead of doing a background, which is going to require more ink. Okay, but yeah, make sure you save your project, give it a name that you're going to be able to remember easily so you can find it when you need to. You could have the one that you did, the large greeting card, you can call that your large template, and then you can also use this one as your small template. The large template, you're going to get 1 card. The small template, you'll get 2 cards, which is a great time because it's Valentine's coming up and you want to be able to get more bang for your buck. You can go into Cricut Design Space. They have a lot of card templates out there that has the smaller card or envelope that will fit this. I'm not going to create an envelope because there's plenty out there in Cricut Design Space for you to use. All you have to do is click on Customize and you know, remove the image so that the actual card doesn't print, and then just leave the envelope displayed and print out the envelope and fold it, you know, fold it up. Okay, all right guys, let me think, is there anything else? I think I gave you pretty much everything you need to know in Microsoft PowerPoint for this. Now at some point in time I will get to where I won't go into so much detail on how to change the sizing of your slide and, you know, how to insert text and stuff like that. I'll be referring people back to the previous videos because for people that have already watched those, you know, it's like you're saying the same thing over and over, which makes the video be much longer. So I will get to a point where I will refer you back to previous videos to see certain things. But for those that have already watched those videos, you're going to be good because we'll be able to continue to grow, not only in Microsoft PowerPoint, but also in Cricut Design Space. I just wanted to give you another avenue of how to do things in Microsoft PowerPoint if you have access to that software, to keep you from running out to buy other software. And not only buy other software, but it's a lot more that you can do in Microsoft PowerPoint as I've shown you here. You don't have to, you know, put this in a cutting machine. You don't have to cut out an image and, you know, print the image over somewhere else and then cut it out and put it on the card and all that good stuff. You can do everything in one whop. It may seem time consuming at first because you're trying to learn Microsoft PowerPoint if you don't know it. Even if you know it and if you've never used it in this capacity, then you're still learning something. Which brings me to the next thing. If you are benefiting from these tutorials, guys, please, 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 I beg of you to like and share my tutorials. And if you're currently subscribed on my YouTube channel, I want to thank you guys so much for subscribing. And I want to encourage you to continue to like and share and hit that bell notification so you'll be made aware anytime I upload videos or tutorials to YouTube. And also, if you're seeing me for the first time, you like my method of teaching, if I taught you anything here, then also please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you would like, I always post a link in my Facebook group of all of my tutorials so that my group members automatically know that I just uploaded a tutorial, so they can click on it. I automatically upload them into the group, and so they can just click from the group to view or to get to YouTube to view the tutorials. And so if you're currently in my Facebook group, Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters, and I know that's a mouthful, I want to thank you guys so much for following me on Facebook. And if you are not and you would like to join the private group, Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters, just send me a Facebook group request to that group and we'll get you added, okay? So that you can continue to craft with us and learn other things. We currently have a contest going on in the group. It's a painting contest. You do not have to be a great painter. And all entries must be in by the 31st of January. And then we'll get our vote on. I'm so glad I don't have to do the voting. All right, guys, that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Hey, this was brought about because somebody asked me, can you do 2 cards on 1 piece of cardstock? So that's why I put this together. If you have any ideas that you would like me to try, I may not even know how to do it. I may have to teach myself before I can teach you. Just put it in the comments, you know, and I'll see if it's something that I can learn and then teach back. All right. All right, guys, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And you know, my motto is each one reach one so that each one can teach one. And you guys have a great day. Bye.